Welcome back. In this session, I'm going to talk to you about my story. And my story relates to why I started Career 101. I graduated college in the mid-90s, and I really did not have any sense of what I wanted to do. I'd been in academics my whole life. I had had one internship. I had traveled a little bit, but I really didn't have a sense. I thought, well, maybe teaching, but I think looking back on it, what I realize now is I just didn't know what the options were. I had been more of a math and science person throughout my academics, but I didn't know how to translate that into what I might do for a career. So I ended up working on a manufacturing assembly line, which turned out to be one of the great things I could do because it got me out of my head, out of the books, and doing something tangible. And the beauty of working in manufacturing is it allowed me to see process, how people in one sub department, one sub area of the assembly line connected to the people in the next one. And I worked on a snowboard manufacturing assembly line, and there were about 12 or 15, depending on what was going on, people in that assembly line. And I was at the end of the line, so I got to see all the effects of what happened earlier in the line. And I got lucky, and I was managing a small team of 4 of us in what we called finishing. And that company ended up going bankrupt. So I was forced to pivot again. I tried a brief stint as a teacher's aide, which was okay, but at the time in my early 20s wasn't a good fit for me. And I ended up being able to go back to go to business school. And that was helpful for me at the time. Some people asked me over the years, do you recommend business school or not? And I think it really depends on where you are in your life and career. If you're kind of stuck and want to pivot, and have the financial wherewithal to go to business school, it's a great thing to do. If you are really on track in your career and you just figure it'll be kind of an arrow in your quiver, so to speak, maybe not so much. So business school for me, being in the very late 90s, it was the dot-com boom when the internet was going crazy. It just opened my eyes a lot to what was out there. I had a very narrow view before that, and this expanded it to go, oh, there is all these different industries and all these different roles and all these different functions that could be done. And I got to start to think about how do I align what I'm interested in and what I so far think I'm good at, how does that take me somewhere? And so I went to work for a .com, an internet company. At the time, it was a comparison shopping website. And I'll talk about that as I talk about different careers, and I'll get updated information from the people that are still there. But that, again, had a lot of the similarities. It was still to do with kind of operations, step ABC. It was working with cross-functional teams. It was inwardly focused, not outwardly sales focused. And it allowed me to get a flavor for sitting at a desk all day and being in front of a computer, and then certainly having meetings and collaborations with others, but it wasn't as physical as I had experienced in the manufacturing side, which had its pros and cons. And very different culture. I'm sure I'll do a session on culture. Culture is another overlay of everything relative to what an experience can be like at a company. So I followed my interest there and learned quite a bit, but just felt that my learning had peaked a little bit, as well as I just didn't want to be in that industry long term. So after a lot of soul searching, I got into real estate, and the best entry point for me was becoming a commercial real estate broker. And my personality is such that I did not do well in sales. I did not do well cold calling. I wasn't happy I wasn't sleeping well. Hey, that's a good trigger for those of you who are early in your career doing something and you're not sleeping well. I wasn't sleeping well. If you're not sleeping well, there's probably not a fit. If it's related to work, if you're having weird work dreams, like maybe you're not in the best place you can be. And then in 2004, so 9 years after I graduated college, I made it over to the company I'm still at today, which is a industrial focused commercial real estate operator. And that allowed me to really combine the things that I've now realized are the core to my skill set and happiness, which is process, people, culture, inwardly focused within the company as opposed to outwardly focused. And it has really been a good fit for me, and I'm happy. And I'm doing financially well, and it works quite well. So what I want to do, the reason I started this is I want to pull back the curtain of this whole career and what are all these positions and what are all these industries. So you, the audience, can start to correlate your skills, your interest, and those are going to evolve to the different options out there. So again, enjoy. Hope you learned something.